We're ready. We're ready.
Ready?
Mhm.
All rise for the jury.
Oh, is it cold? That is shocking. All right, everyone, please be seated. No, sometimes they have it extremely hot here. So whenever it gets cold, we're always like, now they're trying to freeze us out, but nobody is allowed to call and say it's too cold. We will just handle it as is. But I want to thank you all so much. And I know that you all see that you have a new juror joining you in the box, juror number 14. So there were some issues that occurred through no fault of the states or the defense. There are some of you who are actually on this panel who should not be on this panel. So what ends up happening is the state and the defense each are allowed to have 10 peremptory strikes. And I'm telling you this so that you will know, because I always think it's great for people to have knowledge. So each side is entitled normally to 10 strikes apiece. And those 10 strikes are called peremptory strikes, and they can be for whatever reason. Maybe somebody thinks, oh my gosh, that person is looking at me wrong, or I didn't like this answer, then this answer. So each side can have 10 strikes. Then after that, they have what's called challenges for causes. And those are strikes that are based sometimes constitutionally strikes, sometimes there are legal strikes because case law says that you can strike a person for different things. Sometimes it's the person who says, I can't be fair on this. Or sometimes, as juror number 47, I'm going to vote for guilty, whether the person is guilty or not, just so I can go home. Or sometimes people are not right for a particular jury, because sometimes we try child sex cases here. And believe it or not, we have a lot of people in San Antonio who have experienced trauma, and they just can't sit on certain cases. So all of that happens. So if you can imagine, there are 75 or 80 of you in here. And so what ends up happening is once the state and the defense have their agreements, and they can come together, and usually, at least in this court, I've known Mr. Cox for a long, long time. I've known these prosecutors for a long, long time, and each parties are very fair, and each party wants to have a fair jury. And so after you all were asked to wait outside, the entire panel, what would end up happening is the state and the defense were discussing persons that they could agree on. For example, they agreed that number 47 should not be on the panel. And I think everyone here can understand why. And there were some other people they agreed on. So once they agreed on those persons, then I would tell them, this is where your strike zone is. And everybody would say, yeah, we agree that's where the strike zone is. And normally on a felony case, there are only 12 jurors. But here there are usually 14. Now it's 15. But it's 14 because I like to have at least 2 alternates in case something happens, because we've had people who've had accidents before, and you don't want to have all this testimony and then you can't continue because a juror could not be here. So in this case, once all of the strikes are turned in, as you can imagine, it goes to the clerk. And so the clerk will look at the strikes that the defense has made, the strikes that the state has made, and what they've agreed to. And if you can imagine, that's a lot of paperwork for the clerks. So I'm not supposed to interfere in the clerk doing their job, saying, these are the people that everybody agrees to. So in your case, once the clerk handed me the list and said, these are the witnesses, these are the jurors, before I even bring you back in, I will call out your names to both the state and the defense and ask them, do y'all have any objections to these persons being on the jury panel? Because usually they can look at their list and say, wait a minute, that person shouldn't be there because I struck them. So in this case, there were some things that were slightly missed. So some of you who are on the panel should actually not be on the panel. And I thought that we would be able to clear that up by bringing juror number 14 back. And I really appreciate you for answering the call and coming down here. But then it was discovered that there was another issue. So at this point, because I want to be fair to both the state and the defense and to Mr. Wilson, we're going to have to start over with a new panel. Now, the good thing about that is you have the rest of the day off. You can enjoy things. You can enjoy downtown, and you learn more about the voir dire process. Also, the good thing about it is criminal cases, a lot of times people feel the weight of the world, which I think you're supposed to feel the weight of the process, right? Because you hold somebody's life in your hand. And so this is a case where you can breathe a sigh of relief, maybe, because you're not going to have to be the person to make that decision. But I tried my best to make sure that you all were able to stay here. That's why I asked for them to call for juror number 14. But then there was another error that was discovered. And the clerk is very, where's the clerk? She's she's here. She is very disappointed, and she's been apologizing over and over. And I always tell people, I said, did you do it on purpose? She's like, no. I'm like, it's a mistake. People make mistakes. But she's very good at what she does. And I know she's devastated by it because she was constantly trying to correct it. Let me call downstairs and see if we can get to number 14. And then we found another error. She was almost in tears. And I said, no, mistakes happen. And I neither the state or the defense blame her. Mr. Wilson doesn't blame her because stuff, that happens. So I apologize to each of you. But while I have you here, there's someone who told the deputy that they think they know me or one of their relatives was in my class. Oh, hi. Did you tell? Now you can tell everybody what a great professor I was. Do you have your mentor? Did you ever ask for a mentor?
No, I work with.
Oh, okay, great. Oh, I will. You can come, you know what? You can come down to court anytime you want to. Sure. And everyone, the courtroom is always open to the public. We're here Monday through Friday. I always try to give the staff Fridays off because the prosecutors have work upstairs and witnesses. And sometimes people like Fridays off. So the only time we're here usually on Fridays is if we're in a jury trial. I'm still here on Fridays, but I give them a chance to go take care of other things. So if ever you want to come down to the 187th, you're more than welcome. If you have children or students or somebody who wants to learn about the legal process, please have them come down because I think it's very important that we all know what's going on and this is not such a big mystery. And I hope, even though you can get a chance to hear the evidence in the case or hear both great attorneys give you their opening statements, I hope that it wasn't such an experience that you would not want to do it again. Any questions about anything? Yes. Oh, look at him. You want to come back down. No, it does count. Yeah. All right. Any other questions? Yes. Yes, you will get the paperwork today. And again, you can donate that or to a charity, or either you can come downtown one time and have lunch. I can never tell jurors this during jury selection, but after jury selection and after the case is over, I always tell them you can donate it to CASA, which is for foster children, because I used to do a lot of work with the foster care system. So there are plenty of different organizations, or if there's some organization that you think is a great organization, you can find out and they can send it there. Or otherwise, like I say, you'll receive a check in the mail. You'll have great lunch, come down, walk the Riverwalk, see great things, use it for fiesta. So all those things. Any other questions? Yes. take care of the what? Oh, they didn't give you all the parking,
No, they
did you?
said that nobody had called them.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, let me do this. You guys are still in the parking garage now? All right, Deputy Laura. All right, could you call and let them know that these jurors, and if you could have their names and tell them you're from the 187 District Court and let them know to let them have a pass today on parking. So that will the makeup, I think, not having to pay. Yeah. No. So deputy's going to call and let them know that you won't have to pay parking today. All right. So and just be sure to tell them you were with the 187 District Court. Any other questions? All right. Thank you guys so much. And it's because of you guys that maybe it's a little cooler in here because normally it's super hot. All right, everyone. And because we're recessing early, you can go out to the bottom on the first floor and you can be here the whole day. So you don't have to go back to work today. All right. Thank you guys so much.